Hey guys, getting ready to plant my tulips, and I wanted to show you guys what's in the bed right now in September. I'm getting ready to plant in October, and this is my bed of zinnias. So I'll flash back to a little video showing what the difference is between the tulips and the bed with zinnias. But as you can see here, I've got monarchs galore. There's two of them right there. And if you love monarchs, you gotta love zinnias, I'm telling you. Very easy plant to plant. I honestly collect the seeds, so what I'll do is I'll cut some of my favorite flowers. I'll let the flowers dry out in the basement, and then I'll show you guys how to, here's a beautiful honeybee, how to dry those out. It's pretty easy, and I'll show you guys a little seed part of it. And then I just direct seed it. Occasionally I'll add some fresh ones, but planting zinnias in your tulip bed really looks amazing. One of the tricks, so two things I do personally, I don't know if this would help everybody, but I put in a net system, so you can see it right here. So this is the net. I put some stakes in and this kind of fisherman's net, and it's just sort of a mess, but that's all the plants need. And if you don't support them, they'll end up falling over like they're starting to do in the front here. And they'll break and they'll have all kinds of bad problems. But if you do support them, you're gonna get zinnias and you're going to get butterflies and bees that are gonna fight each other. But yeah, definitely love zinnias. The other thing I do is I don't water these at all. I don't even have irrigation for these. I think pretty much if they're able to handle it with your climate, you don't need to water. Try not to. The more you water, the more you get this, which is powdery mildew. You can get powdery mildew on zinnias and they'll basically shrivel up and die. It's super hard to fight powdery mildew. I really don't even try. I'll just cut it out if I see it. But yeah, so that's what it looks like right now. And we're going to check back here in about a month here. It's September, so in October I'll be planting tulips in the same bed, and we'll be cutting all this down and putting in the tulips. And in case anybody's worried, these are annuals. They won't make it through the winter, so that's why we have to cut them down. All right, let's pick it back up with tulip planting. All right, guys, let's talk about digging up tulips. So in that beautiful bed of zinnias, I'm going to dig up, once the zinnias get cut back here, I'm gonna dig up all of the beds, and I'm gonna dig up all the tulips. And just for the heck of it, I dug up a little area to kind of show you what's gonna come out of the ground. So these tulips just got dug up. Sometimes you're gonna dig them up and you're gonna see something that looks like a tulip, right? And when you remove the shell around it and remove some of the skin, you're gonna discover that all of a sudden it blows up and breaks into a bunch of pieces. And all you have, what you thought was a big tulip, looked like this, ended up being just a bunch of small tulips kind of hunkered together. So what happened here, guys? Well, your beautiful flowering tulip basically gave birth to these little daughter tulips, and sometimes the mother tulip in the process disappears, it dies off, and all you're left with are these little beautiful baby tulips. The problem is these little baby bulbs are too small to produce these amazing flowers next year. So what you're gonna get is you're going to get all the leaves as they try to get larger, but you're not gonna get the flowers because they just can't do it. So as you go year after year, you get less and less flowers, more and more leaves, and eventually your tulip bed looks like a bed of tall grass. Sometimes the tulip, you'll dig it up and you may just find a couple daughter bulbs like this attached to the side. And again, this tulip, for example, would produce a flower next year. These are not. So you can either leave it like that and wait for these to get larger. They'll probably keep pulling energy away from this bulb just because they're growing right next to it. Or you can do the smart thing, if you really want an amazing tulip bed, is you can dig them up. So here's the deal. How do you determine which tulips are going to produce a flower and which are not? Well, it basically breaks down to size. There is a standard for tulip bulbs, or what they call medium-sized tulip bulbs, and what they call large or prime tulip bulbs. The standard over in Europe, this is obviously developed by the Dutch, is that a 10 centimeter circumference bulb, which in the US works out to a 1¼ inch diameter. So that's across like how wide it is in the widest part. That would be a standard bulb. That comes up in a diameter of 31.7 millimeters, if you want to know what that is. A grade A large tulip bulb is a 1½ inch diameter, so 1½ inches across, which comes out to 38 millimeters of 38 millimeter tulip. So basically, all you got to do is take the tulips you dug up, take them to one of these two, well, really just the smaller size, I guess. Put it in here, and if it does that, it won't work. Now, sometimes people say, and I've seen a couple videos where they say use a quarter. A quarter is a very generous, it's a very small tulip. You probably are gonna get a flower. It's not gonna be amazing, but if you really wanna like save as much as you can, I guess you could use a quarter. A quarter comes out to 15/16. It's a pretty small tulip, but basically the standard that I use is you just use a standard 1¼ inch. If it doesn't go through the 1¼ inch, it's a good tulip. If it does, well, time to probably put that in the compost bin. You can see I've got a whole bunch of tulips that I dug up earlier in the spring because I had to move a bed. And what's interesting is if I dig these up, or if I pull these out, they're pretty close in size to what I'm getting out of the ground fresh. So I don't think there's a huge advantage to digging them up midsummer. In fact, I'd say the opposite. I prefer just to do this once. So I'm just gonna dig them up and then I'm gonna be supplementing and replanting. So I just do this in the fall. But if somebody knows better, whether it's better to do them late spring after they flower, I guess. I found that they subdivide it basically as soon as they are dying back, their leaves, they've already subdivided. So what's the point? Might as well just wait until the fall, until you're gonna go replant. Now let me just show you the difference here. So these are tulips I got out of the ground. Let me show you the size of the tulips that come from like Costco or a commercial grower like you do in Holland. Look at these things, guys. I mean, there's no question that these guys are monsters. I mean, they're monsters compared to this. They meet the standard of a 1½ inch. I mean, these things are flipping huge. I mean, this one's almost 2 inches across. So, you know, here's your problem. Here's your problem. This is not going to do with this. This is like, you know, professional NFL player, and this is like somebody, you know, who never played football in their life, and you're putting them both into a game. This guy is just gonna be amazing. It's just gonna be crazy. This is a professional athlete. This is a brand new, you know, rookie that is 8 years old. So you can't really compare the two. So that's why you just don't get the tulips. So what I'll end up doing is out of this bunch, I'll end up saving like 3 tulips here. And then I'm gonna supplement with these, and that will give you the large sizes that it's necessary to make these beautiful flowers. All right, let's go dig up some tulips. All right, I wanna show how to actually plant the tulips. So over here, some zinnias, still doing their zinnia thing with some monarchs earlier. And this bed, I've pulled all the zinnias out. Zinnias are very easy to pull out. If you ever need to pull a zinnia out, you just pull it out, and there's like almost no root to zinnias, which makes it very easy to clean up the bed. Then dig out all the dirt. I run it through a screen, or a sieve, I should say, I guess, into my wheelbarrow. And then I use an old sail up there from my sailboat and throw all the dirt up there. You want to go about 3 times as deep as the tulip is tall. So dig the bed out, and then I have to go get my tulips. I've been keeping them carefully in the basement to keep them cool and from getting too hot and getting damaged. Then I just line them up, and I pull a couple tulips out of each one, like a handful, put it into a basket. The basket holds 200 tulips. It took 3 baskets to fill this bed. And then come over to the bed, use my favorite gardening fork made by Red Pig Tools. This is like handmade by this guy. And then, rake it out, put tulips in, and pack them in kind of like eggs in an egg crate. Like I said, this is 600 tulips. Now I'm going to do a lasagna planting. So now that I've got my 600 tulips in here, I'm going to put the dirt back in, and then I'm going to come over top of it with this. These are just regular crocus. I have, I don't know, maybe like 300, 400 crocus in there. And then I'm going to come over top of the top layer with crocus and then put a little more dirt down, and I'll probably cut away to looking at that. And then finally, I'm going to come along the front with these muscari, which are grape hyacinth, I think is what we call them here. And I'll fill a few of these guys in the front, and then in the spring it'll look like this. So that's basically planting tulips. It's actually the easy part. The harder part is what to do with the bed the rest of the year, and how to sort tulips. One thing that I just wanted to show you here. So for example, in this bed, I can point out right here, like this is an existing tulip. This is an existing tulip that was in the bed already. Only about 10%, I would say, maybe 15% on the high side are existing tulips. You can almost see them in there. They're the ones that aren't as kind of light brownish. They're more dark brown. The rest of these are actually new tulips. So to get the bed to really pop, I have to supplement with, 85% new tulips. So I don't know if that's great for the world. But simply put, if you want like an amazing tulip bed, that's how you have to do it. All right, I'll do a new post in the spring once we have lots of tulips. Last thing is, I have other beds. I just do this one bed at a time because it takes a while. This is the largest bed, so I just break the project up into little beds. This is a bed that we're going to do pumpkins in. We do these talking pumpkins and kind of like our pumpkin patch. So I needed to do this in September so I can start doing pumpkins in October. All right. Good luck with your tulips, and I hope this helps.